If you prayed today, went to church this week, or consider yourself a good Christian, you need to hear this. There's a 99% chance you're unknowingly practicing the very sin that could cost you your salvation. I'm Karen, and I'm 56 years old. I died alone in my classroom at the local high school in May 2024 after a heart attack. It was about 8:45 p.m. on a Friday night. The halls were already dark and quiet, the kind of quiet that makes you feel like you're the only person in the world. I was still at my desk, grading the last essays by the flickering fluorescent lights. I told myself that I stayed late because I cared about my students, and some of that was true. But the other part, the part I never wanted to admit, was that I didn't want to go home. Home meant another night of scrolling through Facebook and Instagram, where I saw other people smiling on cruise ships, posting pictures of their kids getting into college, or celebrating their wedding anniversaries with big bouquets and candlelit dinners. Every time I saw my sister Linda's vacation pictures from Italy, or my brother Jack's latest award from the cancer unit at his hospital, I would feel tightness in my chest. I never said anything out loud. I'd like the posts, leave tiny hearts. But I was choking inside. You might think that jealousy is loud, dramatic, and clear, but mine was quiet and went deep. I looked like I had everything together on the outside. I had been teaching English for 30 years, had a stable marriage, and 2 teenage kids, but I couldn't help but compare. I felt like I was less than everyone else in every room I went into. I saw other teachers win awards that I thought I should have won. I saw younger coworkers connect with students in ways that made me feel like I wasn't there. I envied the way they dressed, stylish, full of life, and full of energy. I was jealous that they didn't have to work as hard as I did to get noticed. I loved my husband, Tom, but our marriage had become quiet, routine. We didn't talk much some nights. I would see friends post about soulmate weekends or surprise trips, and I would look over at Tom sleeping in his recliner and think, why can't my life be like theirs? And my kids, Emily and Jake, were good kids. God bless them. But I would still compare with them. I'd hear about someone else's kid getting a scholarship or winning a science award, and without thinking, I'd say to Emily, why don't you try harder in math like your cousin? She would just sigh. Jake would roll his eyes and say, here we go again. I never meant to hurt them. I thought I was making them better, but when I think about it now, I was pushing them away. I think everyone has felt that little nagging pain when someone else gets what you've been praying for. The raise, the focus, the life that looks like it was wrapped up in a perfect little bow. You might know what it's like to smile while your heart breaks, to clap for someone else while you wonder if God has forgotten about you. One moment just a week before I died still bothers me. I was in the car outside the coffee shop in our town. I had just seen an old friend named Sarah. She looked great, was thinner than ever, and was so excited about her daughter's wedding. She showed me pictures of the dress, the place, and the cake. I nodded and smiled, but something inside me turned. I got in my car and sat there. My coffee got cold. I looked at more pictures of happy families and whispered to God, why not me? Why does it never feel like enough? I was looking at a picture of that same friend lying under a palm tree in the Bahamas when the heart attack happened that Friday night. My chest hurt. My left arm lost feeling. I let go of the red pen I was holding. I remember how shocked I was by everything, the fear, the confusion, and the loneliness. I tried to shout, but no one was there. When my head hit the desk, everything went black. But that wasn't the end. What happened next changed everything I thought I knew about God, life, and myself. That's the part you need to know. I can still feel the pain. It hurt a lot, like something in my chest had broken. My arm went numb, my vision got blurry, and the papers on my desk felt like they were a million miles away. I tried to move and talk, but my body wouldn't listen. As I slid off the chair and onto the cold tile floor, my last thought was, this can't be it. Not here. Not like this. I was afraid. Not the kind of fear you feel when it thunders or when you watch a scary movie. This was not the same. It was a deep, helpless fear. The kind that says, you didn't say goodbye. The kind that makes you think of all the conversations you didn't finish, all the hugs you should have given, and all the mean things you wish you hadn't said. Then, all of a sudden, everything was quiet. Not just quiet, not a sound. The kind of silence that makes you feel safe and warm after a long day. The pain went away. The lights in the classroom went out. But I was still the same person. I was still here in some way, but I wasn't on the floor anymore. I was floating above my body and looking down. I saw myself lying on the cold white tiles with papers all over the place. The red pen I was using had rolled under a desk. One of my shoes had come off. My mouth was a little open and my eyes were closed. I looked sleepy, more than just tired. I looked like I'd been carrying too much for too long. I should have freaked out, but I didn't. I felt calm instead, a kind of peace that I can't really put into words. It felt like every heavy thing I'd ever carried, jealousy, bitterness, regret, was being taken off of me one layer at a time. I felt light, like I hadn't been able to breathe in years. I was moving forward, not walking or flying, but moving forward, as if something kind but invisible was pulling me along. The area around me began to change. The darkness turned into light, but not harsh light. It was soft and golden, like the morning sun coming through a bedroom window. I started to hear sounds, but not with my ears. They were inside me. Music, almost. Not with instruments, but with warmth and color. I know that doesn't make sense, but that's how it felt. Like happiness had a sound. And then I saw it. A yard. But not like any garden I've ever seen before. It went on and on with every kind of flower you could think of. Roses, lilies, sunflowers, orchids, all blooming together in perfect harmony. It looked like every petal was full of light, but none of them stood out. They didn't fight. They just opened up. Jesus was right in the middle of it all. I don't even know how I first recognized him. There weren't any signs or labels. But as soon as I looked into his eyes, I knew. I felt like I had always known him, even though I didn't know why. He wasn't far away or shining in a way that was too dramatic. He stood there in simple robes that sparkled with the same colors as the flowers around him. But his eyes, oh, his eyes were all that mattered. They were full of love and something deeper than sadness. Sadness, maybe, but not anger. Don't ever get angry. Just love. It was so much love that it broke me. I didn't even think about it when I fell to my knees, and as soon as I did, I fell apart. All the things I had pushed down for years, the anger, the comparisons, the times I secretly hoped others would fail so I wouldn't feel so small, came back to me like waves. I wanted to get away. I wanted to say, I'm sorry. But the words seemed too small for all the things I had done, felt, and become. But he didn't turn away. He got closer. His hand was under my chin, lifting my face. He got down on one knee with me. He said only one word. Karen. That's it. Only my name. But that one word held everything I had ever wanted to hear. I see you. I know you. I still love you. I cried. Not just cried, but sobbed. It felt like something holy had touched every wound in my heart. Jesus held me while I cried, not with lectures or judgments, just held me, like a father holding his sick child. And at that moment, I knew I was safe. For the first time in my life, I didn't feel like I had to live up to something. I didn't feel like I was behind. I didn't feel less than. I was just loved. It felt like time didn't exist there. Only being there. Only peace. I didn't want to go. Being there and being loved like that was the best thing I could think of. But Jesus still had more to say. He had something to show me about my life and about the truth behind the jealousy that had been weighing me down. And what he showed me next broke my heart in a different way. In that never-ending garden, flowers of colors I had never seen before Earth grew all around us. But the garden wasn't the most beautiful thing. It was him. Not because he shone, not because of the thunder or the gold, but because I felt so deeply known when I was with him. I couldn't hide, but I wasn't scared. I looked at him, still on my knees, and my heart broke. "Why?" I whispered, and my voice shook. Why did I always feel like I was behind? Like I wasn't good enough? He didn't answer right away. He helped me get up, and we walked slowly through the flowers instead. It was like each one was leaning toward us, as if they knew him too. He said softly, "Karen, you lived a lot of your life believing a lie." "Is that a lie?" I asked. He nodded and looked ahead at a big tree with branches that looked like arms. "You thought that love had to be earned and that value had to be shown. You thought that the good things that happened to other people were proof that I had forgotten about you, but I was always there for you. Not once." I took a deep breath. But why did it seem like everyone else had more? More success, more love, more light? Jesus looked at me, his eyes full of love and kindness. Because jealousy makes the soul blind. It makes you think of blessings as rivals. And when you look at other people, they can't see the gifts I put right in front of you. My chest felt tight. I didn't mean to feel that way. I was just tired. Tired of not being seen. I'm sick of being ordinary. When he touched my shoulder, something inside me let go. It was like all the comparisons I had made before disappeared. He said, "Let me show you something." The garden suddenly disappeared. Instead, I saw a series of wide-angle views, like windows opening one after the other. Each one was a moment from my life, but not how I saw it. I was seeing it from other people's points of view. I saw my daughter Emily sitting on her bed with tears on her cheeks. She was whispering, "I can't talk to Mom about anything without her bringing up Aunt Linda." I saw my son Jake get a B on a test and hold it up proudly. Then he threw it away after I told him, "Well, your cousin got an A+. Before I went inside, I saw Tom sitting in his car, gripping the steering wheel and letting out a deep sigh. He was getting ready for another night of feeling like he wasn't good enough. I cried. I didn't know. I didn't mean to hurt them. Jesus nodded softly. "I know." Jealousy doesn't just stay in the heart. It also gets into the home, and that's what it does to so many of my kids. It makes love into a comparison. It changes thankfulness into complaining. People miss the life I made for them because they are always looking at someone else. I had more visions now, not just of my own life, but of other people's lives as well. A young woman was crying quietly as she scrolled through social media late at night because her life seemed so empty compared to what she saw on her screen. A teenage boy who didn't want to tell his mom he liked art because she always praised his more athletic brother. A pastor's wife crying behind closed doors because her family didn't look as blessed as the ones in the church bulletins. I said, "Jesus," because I was so overwhelmed. It's all over the place. He looked at me with sadness. Yes, a chain of silence around the hearts of millions. In families, in schools, and even in churches. People are so busy trying to be enough that they forget they are already loved. I felt a deep ache, deeper than before, because I finally understood. I had spent years trying to get attention that Jesus never asked me to get. I had missed the joy of my own path because I was trying to follow someone else's. He got closer. "I made you to be Karen, not Linda, not Jack, not anyone else. I taught you how to give, the heart to care, the voice that gives life." But jealousy kept telling me that those things weren't enough. So you heard it and then slowly stopped hearing me. I put both of my hands over my face. "I'm so sorry." He put his hand on top of mine. "You are forgiven. That chain is broken now." And I could feel it. Really felt it. It felt like something broke inside of me, like a tight rope that had been around my ribs for years. I could breathe again. Then we all stopped moving. I looked at him and felt panic rise. "Please don't send me back. Not yet. I just found you. I finally feel complete." Jesus smiled, and his smile was full of both happiness and sadness. I know, my child. But there are still some people who are chained up. There are kids, my kids, who go through life thinking they are unloved, unseen, and less than. You need to tell them what I showed you. I shook my head slowly and tears came back. But who would pay attention to me? He said. You'd be surprised. Because they don't want things to be perfect. They want someone who is honest. They want someone who knows how painful it is to compare yourself to others and how hard it is to feel like you're not good enough. You can talk to them, but not from a mountaintop. You can talk to them from the valley you walked through. I thought about Emily, of Jake. I had lost so many moments, but maybe, just maybe, I could gain something new. Will you come with me? I asked. He said, I never left you. I took a deep breath and closed my eyes one last time to smell the flowers in the garden. 1,000 flowers blooming without being jealous. A love so strong that it was hard for me to bear. But I would give it a shot. Now I knew. Jealousy kills the person who has it. But love lets it go. It felt like I had been thrown into a room I didn't remember going into when I got back. There was no more peace. The light, the garden, and his voice were all replaced by noise, beeping, and pain. I woke up to bright white lights. I could hardly breathe. Tubes in my nose, wires around my chest, voices whispering. A nurse said, She's back. She is back. A hand squeezing mine. Hey, Karen, can you hear me? I wanted to cry, but not because of the pain. It was because of the loss. Jesus had just held me in his arms, and the love he gave me made every hurt feel whole. And now I was back in this body that had let me down, back in a world of bills, clocks, comparisons, and trying. I was sad for a while. I lay in the hospital bed and cried quietly because I didn't want to leave that garden. I didn't want to leave him, but then I remembered what he said. There are still children, my children, who go through life thinking they are unloved, unseen, and less than. You need to tell them what I showed you. And all of a sudden, the sadness turned into a goal. It wasn't easy to get better. I had to take a break, sit still, and slow down, which I had never been good at. But when things were quiet, I started to see things in a new way. I didn't think of anyone else when Tom came to see me and held my hand with tears in his eyes. I didn't think about the anniversaries we missed or the vacations we couldn't afford. I just saw him, the man who stayed with me, my husband, the man who loved me every day in silence without needing to tell the world. I squeezed his hand and said something I hadn't said in years. Thank you for being mine. I'm sorry I ever made you feel like you weren't good enough. He broke down, right next to my bed, and I saw healing in his tears. I didn't ask about grades when Emily and Jake came over. I didn't mention any cousins. I looked them in the eyes and said, You are who you are supposed to be. I'm proud of you. Emily was crying. Jake looked shocked. They both hugged me like they'd been waiting years to hear those words. I wrote letters to my siblings Linda and Jack that week, and I wasn't hiding any anger. I was really happy. I told them how proud I was of them. I felt bad for how far my jealousy had pushed me away. I asked them to forgive me and thank them for all the help they had given me over the years. This time, I meant every word. When I went back to school weeks later, I was a different woman than the one who had been in that same classroom. No more staying late to get noticed. No more quiet anger when younger teachers get praise. I started leaving on time, going home to cook dinner with Tom, listen to my kids, and relax. Because I finally got it. Applause doesn't mean success. Love is what counts, and love grows best when you stop trying to win and start choosing to see. I also started a new group at school. It's a place where students can talk about their gifts, problems, and dreams during lunch without judging or competing with each other. We are in a circle. We tell each other that it's not a flaw that every flower blooms differently. It's how God made them. One day, a girl named Mia, who was shy, wore glasses, and always sat alone, said she never spoke in class because she didn't think she was as smart as the other kids. I knelt down next to her and said, "God didn't ask you to be the smartest. He wanted you to be yourself. That's more than enough." I thought my heart would burst when she smiled so big. I live with a kind of clarity now that I didn't know was possible. I don't look through social media to find what I don't have. I really do look for ways to celebrate other people, like birthdays, big events, and baby pictures. I really do feel happy for them. That used to seem like it couldn't happen. It feels like breathing now. When I can, I also speak at churches and events for women, not as an authority, not like someone who knows everything, just like a woman who used to drown in comparison and is now free. I say to them, jealousy is a thief. It takes away your happiness, your peace, and your relationships. Jesus doesn't want you to be perfect. He wants your heart just the way it is. And I keep saying this truth. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not less than. If Jesus could see my mess and still call me his, he can do the same for you. There are still days that are hard for me. I still catch myself daydreaming and hearing the old voice say, "She's doing better than you." But now I know what to say. I shut my eyes. That garden is still in my mind. I remember the flowers that didn't fight. I remember Jesus saying my name, and I say to that voice, I am already loved. I am already enough. In that lonely classroom, my heart stopped beating almost a year ago, and sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I hadn't come back. What if I had never gotten to see that? But God, in His mercy, gave me that chance, not to make me feel bad, but to set me free, not to judge me, but to help me get better. And I think He wants the same for you. So if you're sick of feeling small, sick of not measuring up, and sick of comparing your life to someone else's, please listen. Jesus sees you. He cares about you. And your story, the real, messy, everyday story, is more beautiful than you think. Before we end, I invite you to let us know in the comment where you're joining from. Each response is a reminder that none of us face life's struggles alone. We are carried by God's love and by the prayers of this community. Thank you for being part of this family.